Welcome back to Building Together. Today's video, episode 3 of what makes this Lego set great. The year is 2007 and the set is the Cafe Corner. Just as a quick recap for those of you who may be new to the series, what makes this Lego set great is about iconic Lego sets from a variety of themes that are listed as what I consider great on brickset.com. In order to qualify, a Lego set has to be rated a 4.5 or higher out of 5. Now in 2007, Lego released the Cafe Corner. Here's my instruction manual, book 1. And you can see that it is a modular building. It is the very first modular building, and it completely changed the way that Lego interacted, I think, with Lego fans in terms of buildings. The Cafe Corner was a creator expert set, and up until that point in time, the creator expert sets had been primarily vehicles like the Boeing Dreamliner or maybe the Red Baron, or iconic statues like the Statue of Liberty or even the Eiffel Tower, which I know isn't a statue, but kind of an iconic landmark. But in 2007, they came out with the Cafe Corner, which was the first building of its kind. Now imagine that all you'd seen in terms of Lego buildings up until this point in time was Lego Town, which had open backs, were pretty short, and really not all that creative in terms of piece usage, due in part to the limitation of pieces. Or a lot of prefab pieces in the early 2000s Lego City line. So when Lego came out with this set, not only did it turn heads, but it started something brand new. So in this episode, we're going to be diving into the set, and we're going to start talking about what makes elements of the set great, whether it's the pieces or the piece usage, the techniques, or what makes this set so much different from what had gone before, and in some cases, what has come out since. Let's dive into the build. All right, I am up through step number 7, and we've already put a lot of pieces down, yet it doesn't feel like we're very far. And that is because, well, the modular buildings put a lot of emphasis early on the tile work on the sidewalk. And as a corner building, you've got multiple sidewalks and some sort of angle to deal with. Now, the designer of this set was Jamie Berard. You may recall him being Brickmaster Jamie on Lego Master Show. He was the one that came up with the modular idea, and you can tell some of his attention to detail is present here, right? So for instance, one of the things that a lot of people don't like is all the tiles. Well, there are a lot of them right here. But notice that it spells out the word cafe in dark bluish gray tiles and plates. So a little message there, intricate work on the sidewalk, which I really appreciate. If, however, you're OCD and you want to make sure that you have everything straight, it's kind of a pain in the neck. Now, another thing that's interesting with the build so far is you can see how we're going to be working the corner. They're going to use this turntable right here to get that corner angle. Now, is that a revolutionary technique? No, but it is a very effective one. And one of the challenges, of course, with any modular, especially the corners, is to make sure you've got the angle correct, and however it is that you are going to be putting in the corner. I also like to shout out the metallic silver grates, sewer grates, and drainage grates. Another great detail that is consistent with all modulars since. We're up to modular, I guess, 17 if you include the Market Street. Notice also we've got this light gray border around the edge of the base plate. That is consistent across all the modulars as well, although the actual tiles used here, right, 1x6 tiles with some 1x1s in the corner, that's changed over time, but that light gray border still exists. Finally, one of the other important elements that we see with the modular building is, of course, the Technic pins. These are spaced out on the set so that the Technic pin is 9 studs in, 10 studs in between, and then 9 studs to the back. This is a standard that has been used across all modulars, as well as the Ninjago City Docks, Ninjago City Gardens, and even the Spring Lantern Festival set. So those are all modular compatible. So that's a standard of design for all modulars, and it all comes into play right here in the first couple of steps. Finally, throughout this set, we're going to talk about some of the pieces, and I definitely have to start talking about the dark blue bricks here. Now, if you have a lot of dark blue bricks in your collection, that's awesome. But in 2007, you probably didn't. The main reason for that is they didn't come with a lot of sets. In fact, there are 39 1x2 dark blue bricks. There are 19 1x4 dark blue bricks in this set. Before this, you would have to get some sets from Bionicle in 2005 and 2006 to get any 1x2 dark blue bricks. And the 1x4 bricks were pretty rare at the time as well. In fact, it was Market Street later on in the year when that was released that had even more 1x4 dark blue bricks. So we can already see some of the hallmarks of the modular set. So you can already see how it all is taking shape here with the sidewalk and the footprint of the building. Let's dive back in and see what else makes this set great. All right, we are up through step 19. We've made a lot of progress in the last 12 steps. Check it out. We've got this facade put together here on the front. Beautiful, nice techniques of alternating with the log bricks and the regular bricks, which gives a nice little texture feel to it. We also have a very boring back wall. You can see we've got some light gray with a little bit of dark gray mixed in, about 25 or 26 light dark gray 1x2 bricks. But a couple things I wanted to emphasize in terms of the pieces and the techniques. First of all, I really like this wall back here. You can see this dark blue wall with some medium blue sprinkled in. Also, we've got this door that opens up to the sidewalk cafe part. So we'll have some seating out here eventually, and you can have this door open up so that the person providing the food can come on out. We also have the door on the corner. Now check this out. This door right here is very rare. It's an old style of door that they stopped making in 2007. And they are pretty expensive on Bricklink. Black doors like this go for about $13 on Bricklink. So it's not an easy piece to find. And then one of the complicating factors of this set is if you wanted to build it to the exact specifications some of these pieces are going to be almost cost prohibitive. But it's a nice looking door. I think it works really good for the corner of the building, and it's a nice entrance to it. Reminds me of kind of like an old corner shop, maybe from like It's a Wonderful Life or something like that. And then over here we have the side entrance, and I tell you what, this is really cool. I really enjoy building this part of the set because you've got this gray door, which the door itself isn't super special, although it's actually more expensive than this door. The average cost is $38 on Bricklink. Just for this light gray door. Again, they stopped making them shortly after this set was produced, and it's hard to get them. And the current doors fit into these, 1 by 4 by 5, or was it 1, 2, 3, 6? Sorry, 6 bricks tall for these doors now. So they've shifted the heights of the doors now, and that's why these are so expensive. But also check out, we've got this tube bent over here. This is going to be part of the doorway architecture. They're going to use an archway. We're going to see that in the next update. But we've already got the lamps put in, and we've got the stairs leading up to the hotel. Now, one criticism that I have, this isn't of the set design, but rather of LEGO quality control. The windows in this set here on the first floor are problematic. We've got 5 of these glass panels, and there are these little bubbles in them, and they're not supposed to be there. Future iterations of these windows, of course, if you get a set nowadays, they don't have them in there, but they did in 2007 with these quality control issue that is problematic. We're going to find out some more quality control issues later on in the set. I'll point them out. But for the time being, now we're going to work on finishing up this first level. We're going to be working on this corner, as well as putting in some of the details of the archway and completing the staircase. I'll check back in after we're done with the first level. So we finished the first level. You can see how it all looks. It looks, I think, fantastic. You've got some details here on the sidewalk with the chairs, the tables, with umbrellas on them. You can see the awnings put on, and I like the awnings. The yellow and the white add a splash of color to the bottom level. So far, it's been primarily gray, with a little bit of this blue inside here. You'll also notice that we have the bench, the lamppost, which has become iconic of the LEGO modulars, and of course we have this hotel sign. And this hotel sign I think is fantastic. It's got the trans red plates that really pop when the light shines through. It's also the first time we see LEGO using lettering in a modular. Of course, it's the first one, but you'll notice that in the Fire Brigade, the Grand Emporium, the Pet Shop, the Downtown Diner, the Detective's Office, so many modulars include LEGO bricks and plates to create words or numbers that it kind of started here, and it's become a calling card of the series. Finally, I just want to show you a little bit here with this archway. I really like the archway. I really like the dark blue arch because not only is it a rare piece, but it adds some nice color to the doorway. And these light gray modified bricks coming out, again, add some decor to things. The last thing I'll note on this arch is that the tube that we saw earlier in our previous update is underneath of the modified bricks there in light gray to help hold them into place. Again, just another thought, another detail that really adds to the overall greatness of this set. So that wraps up the first level We're going to dive into the second level next. All right, so I got on a little bit of a roll and decided to build the entire second level, but there's a lot that stands out on this. Now, one of the first things you'll notice is that we've got open windows. Back in 2007, they didn't have the 1x2x3 windows like we have today. So instead, they used panels. Now, these 1x2x3 panels don't have the supports that the current or the modern ones have. And so getting these are really pricey on Bricklink, around $6 to $7 on average for each one of them. Again, get the ones with supports if you want to do that, or get regular windows. We also have the nice corner right here, which is, I think, effectively done. You have the turntables, again, used to help give that angle, and you've got a support up here connecting it to the base. So that way it's pretty sturdy, not going to go anywhere. Another little detail that I enjoy at the top of this level are the cheese slopes up here to kind of give a little bit of a dimension to the end or the top of the second level getting into the third level, and I think it's very, very effectively done there. Now, what are some of the other details that make this level great, right? It doesn't stand out a lot to you, and in fact, if you take a look at this, there's no interior. You can dump the whole thing upside down, nothing's going to fall out. But there are a couple of things that Jamie Berard put in here to kind of help with an interior. The first is he's got some dark red bricks, which help accentuate the color differences in here, and a medium blue 1x2 tile throughout behind these lattice windows. So they have some nice little detailing on the inside if you were to add something and modify your second level. Another great detail on the corner is the staggered approach here that has a jumper plate followed by another jumper plate and then a 1x3 plate. Does a really nice job of bringing out some texture to the wall and some perspective to it. Another thing that's used in this set here, it's on the first floor as well, but a little nice subtle detail are the door rails at the bottom of this corner. Does a nice job of bringing out some more detail. Finally, I think one of the best details of this second level is this dark red stripe that cuts through the entire second floor. Now, the important thing to note here is that even though we have this brickwork, where we use headlight bricks followed by the 1x2 tiles, is that even through that, this level, this top level of the brick, uses dark red headlight bricks. So this dark red line actually runs all the way throughout there. Again, the attention to detail is second to none. Now, I will say that in 2007, this was pretty good in terms of techniques. Today, I don't think you could get away creating a modular that has 1x2 or 1x1 headlight bricks put together and a 1x2 tile. I don't think that's something that most Lego fans would approve of or get excited for. But certainly at that time, it was a really good approach. Finally, I mentioned in the earlier level how there were some production problems with the windows. Here we have production problems with reddish brown bricks. Now, it's well known that during this period, 2007, for a few years, there were problems with the weakness of these bricks and the tiles and plates. That if you take them apart, sometimes the reddish brown and the dark red can break and snap easily. But one of the other production issues that we see with this is the color variation for the bricks. When you hold them up to light, you can see that there's different shades of reddish brown. And sometimes that's not a bad thing if you're building a mock and you've got different shades. It looks, I think, more natural. But when you're expecting to get the same color, the same variation every single time with a new set, 2007 Lego production wasn't quite there. So that's one of the knocks on, again, the production. This also happens, I believe, with dark red. And we'll see that a little bit more on the next level. All right, so let's go ahead and add this. I've got my first level right here. We're going to take a look at the two levels combined. All right, that's what we got so far. Let's keep building. All right, so we are through step 21 on the third level, and I wanted to point out a couple of things. And the first is we have a similar color scheme on the interior as we did on the second floor. And again, there's not a lot of interior details, but Jamie Berard has provided some medium blue with some dark red on the walls, which I think is a nice touch. The big thing, though, are the slopes here that are staggered. Just one plate difference in height, and you really get a nice effect of texture here on these slopes. And, you know, when we think about what makes Lego sets great, it's oftentimes little details. It's how you put the details together to just make a little bit of differentiation so that it's a little bit different and provides that perspective and that texture. One of the other things I liked about this so far is the second floor, different build than the third floor. One of the drawbacks, and particularly the Grand Emporium, is the second and third floors are basically the same builds. I'm really enjoying this so far. It's like probably the 6th or 7th time I've built the set, but it's always nice to go back and realize why it is so great. All right, I'll check back in when I'm done. All right, we have completed the third level, and it's a lot of fun. There are some really good techniques here that I want to point out. I know last time we were talking about these slopes, I still like that, but check out these window arches here. Now, many people might just use these wheel wells as arches. It's a great, nice piece usage, but notice that Jamie Berard in the set puts these little frogs underneath there as well. Again, the little details. You might have just left the arch there, not had something under there, made that flat, but he's adding this depth, this perspective to it that was really nice. Also, when we think about animals, we have birds as architectural details in stone. So again, finding some pieces that are going to be able to be used maybe for beyond their original purpose. And the dark red modified bricks up here go really well. Again, they're staggered. You get this nice feel for the archway as it comes in. Also, these windows are set back a stud, so you've got the light gray tiles, which again adds that depth to it. Now, the tower itself is really well done. This is one of the first towers that I recall building that was like this out of Lego, and it really helped inform my own building awareness. So really nice job there. And the same thing with this window here. You can see, again, the detail that you have with the frog and the way that it's set back, even though it's in the corner. Finally, one detail that I want to point out is this tap piece right here that's connecting the tower. Now, the tower is attached, but it just is another connection point that makes it stronger and something I would never have thought of, and I think most people never would have included in the model as well. All right, let's go ahead and combine this with the rest of it, see how it looks. Here it is, the whole set put together. This is a large set, and of course at the time, 2007, very, very large set. When I got it for Christmas 2007, so about 9 months after it came out, and it's the biggest thing I ever had at that point in time. So it looks impressive, even though it came out 15 years ago. Still looks good. What are some of the criticisms of the set? Well, one of the criticisms that people have is the lack of interior. Now, I recall reading an interview with Jamie Berard years ago, more than a decade ago, where he talked about they originally had planned 3 modular buildings. So you had this one, the greengrocer, and the fire brigade. And because it was such a brand new concept, they weren't sure that it would sell. So they put all of the budget in the exterior and none of the budget in the interior. Now, that changed with the greengrocer, and in fact, we'll probably be doing a What Makes This Lego Set Great for that coming up shortly. But there's no real interior. So that's one criticism, but again, Lego didn't allow Jamie to do that. Another criticism that people have is that this set might be a little bit dated. I tend to disagree with that. I know that the building techniques that are used here probably wouldn't be allowed to be used in a modular today. But at the same time, they're still pretty good looking details. I think they're better than some other modulars that came later. Again, maybe I'm biased because this was my first modular, but some of these details are really well done and the piece usage is really cool. Finally, another criticism is the minifigs. The minifigs, there are 3. This one, which came up with a C, is basically a plain white torso. Not all that glamorous. So I think there's something to this criticism more than some of the others. This torso over here is used in, I think, a couple of other sets, I think 4 other sets, but it was last produced in this year. So this set, I think maybe the Market Street, and that's it. So, the minifigures I will grant as I think, very legitimate criticism. One of the criticisms that I have is the connection points for each level. There's only one stud connection point, which I'm okay with, except that the one stud is here in the corner. And if your building gets just a little bit off, the angle is slightly off, it's very difficult sometimes to actually put the levels on. So I would have preferred no connection points and just kind of have a plate inset to hold things into place, or perhaps something not in the back corner here. But given the pieces that were available, given the limited budget that they had, $140 set, which is very cheap for modulars, This is a fantastic build. A lot of pieces that are rare, including these windows that we've highlighted, but not specifically for their rarity. They now use hollow studs instead of closed studs, and they're, again, expensive to find on Bricklink. I think it's a great set. Now, if you agree and you don't have one of these, I have some bad news for you. If you wanted to buy one of these on Bricklink, brand new, the average price over the last 6 months, $1,400. If you wanted to get a used cafe corner off of Bricklink, again, over the last 6 months, the average price has been $840. So very, very expensive set. And because of some of the rare pieces, hard to do on Bricklink. So there are plenty of people that have gone out and purchased pieces on Bricklink, made some substitutions. You can check them out on places like Rebrickable or on chat rooms and Eurobricks or other places like that. So by all means, see what you can do if you want to get the set, if you want to have some sort of similar set to this in your collection. But quite honestly, it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Christmas gift I ever received way back in the day. And always kind of gives a little bit of a, I don't know, nostalgic feel when I build it. So that's what makes this Lego set great. I hope you enjoyed this one. Tune in next time when we build, I think, another modular for the series. Always remember, keep building together.